Good morning, a very warm welcome to all of you this morning. I'm Lisa Daisel. I'm from the Unisa Directorate for Counselling and Career Development. And this morning we've got a colleague of ours, Ms. Prudence Mahlangu, to talk to us about where to from here, planning further studies and job search. So this morning we will just start with a short introduction to our speaker. Then Ms. Mahlangu will present, and as she is presenting, you are welcome to post any questions that you might have about the topic on the Q&A. She will attend to those questions as we are talking, as well as at the end of her presentation. Then we will just end off with a thank you. So with that, I'm welcoming my colleague, Mrs. Mandu Makanya. Please introduce our speaker to us.
Thank you, Lisa, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me pleasure this morning to introduce our speaker, who is a colleague and also a graduate of Unisa. Ms. Prudence Mahlangu is a graduate of Unisa who is qualified in psychology and education. Her education includes psychology and education. She has worked as a career guidance practitioner under the Directorate for Counselling and Career Development. And currently, she is a student advisor in the College of Graduate Studies. Her passion includes reading and being a service to others. And she lives by a quote that goes, "No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted." Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Ms. Prudence Mahlangu. Thank you, Lisa.
Hello. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. Sorry about that. I was muted and I didn't realize.
No, we can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone for the warm welcome. And I just wanted to also take this opportunity to welcome all the attendees. So as introduced by Mama Kanya, I'm Prudence, and I'm currently a student advisor under the CGS department. I will just introduce or maybe speak more about what our department deals with. So we are the staff that offers admin support to students. If a student wants to pursue the postgrad qualification, that could be a postgrad diploma or an honors, master's till doctorate level. So we deal with the registration and the registration application, any admin support that students could need. And then I will go more into detail with my presentation today. Just want to ask Lisa, should I share my screen now? Thank you so much, Lisa. So when we first start with a student, maybe they have come to us with regards to furthering their studies. There are a number of questions that I feel are important that the student should maybe spend some time on, even before they even start the application process. You know, I always tell students that the best time to think about furthering your studies is actually when you're currently doing your degree. You know, and ideally you would start maybe, let's say, your third level or your second level. This is because it determines which honors degree you will be allowed to do. And I will touch on that on my other slides. So the first question that you need to look into is, why should I further my studies? So you need to ask yourself, why do I want to further my studies? How will this qualification help me? You know, why do I want to even pursue it? Right? Some of the reasons are a postgrad qualification will give you a competitive edge. You know, it does set you apart from others because you can be seen as somebody who, you know, has broadened their knowledge and their skills, right? And it also helps emphasize your drive, determination, and willingness to increase your ability in your chosen area. A postgrad will afford you the opportunity to specialize and become an expert in your field. We get a lot of students who come in and they are currently working, but then they want to become experts in their field, or maybe they want to broaden their knowledge. And often you'll find that getting a postgrad qualification or obtaining a postgrad qualification is exactly what they need so that they can become experts in their field, right? It also strengthens your CV. Like I mentioned before, it sets you apart from others. It broadens your knowledge and skills. It equips you to conduct learning and research independently. Because you'll find that, especially when you do an honors degree, right, you will do modules that require you to learn or maybe equip yourself with research abilities. You learn how to conduct research, what tools are involved, how to go about it, and how you can navigate around it. And it also enhances your problem solving and critical thinking abilities. It's our belief that determining your why, understanding the reason, or getting to the reason for embarking on this journey that is furthering your studies will also help you stay motivated even when faced with challenges. As we know that often furthering your studies can be very challenging, so always going back to understanding why did I start it? What are my goals? Why did I want to embark on this journey? Will help you be able to get, maybe face those challenges in a more positive and in an easier manner, for lack of a better word. I think I can move. I don't think there'll be any questions on this one, Lisa. I can move, right?
We've got 2 questions so
Okay.
far. I don't know if must I read them out to you?
Yeah,
Then
you
can
may.
decide. Okay.
Yes.
So Khomotso is saying that I want to do an honors degree in economics,
Yes.
but I'm worried about my final year marks. What if I don't get the 60% average?
Okay, I do touch on that actually in one of the slides, but just to quickly answer Komodo, there are options that are available to students, especially students who don't reach that require 60%, and also students who don't have the relevant majors. So there are options that are available, but I will touch on more in my other slides.
Thank you, Prudence. And then Lebo was asking, I'm interested in continuing with HR studies. How do I choose between a postgrad diploma and an honors degree?
Okay, so they are the same level. So the postgrad degree and your honors degree are on the same NQF level. They both are 120 credits. Now, the difference between the two of them is that the honors degree will come with research. So you will have to do 2 research modules. But now with the postgrad, there isn't research papers. Currently, Unisa does offer like a postgrad in human resource and not an honors in human resource. So maybe think of, how do you want this qualification to work for you? That is important. What skills are you looking to take away from obtaining this qualification? Will you need research? Another thing that students must consider is whether they will one day want to pursue their master's degree. So that's where the importance of a research will come in.
Thank you, Prudence. Those are the questions for now.
Right, I think I can move on to the second slide. Another important question that I feel students should look into is, are they ready to further their studies? You know, are you ready for the amount of work that a postgrad qualification might require from you? You know, Unisa is a distance learning institution. So this means that although Unisa offers you support, you are responsible for planning your studies and ensuring that you manage your time effectively. You know, you need to consider what the postgrad qualification will require from you. Like I said, the postgrad qualification, in most cases, it will require more time. Especially if some students, they feel that they want to complete the qualification in 1 year, which is possible because UNISA affords you the opportunity to complete it in a minimum of a year and a maximum of 3 years. In some instances where you're doing an honors degree, some sections, like for example, let's say you want to do an honors degree in education, you will be advised and encouraged to complete the qualification in the minimum of 2 years rather than the 1 year. This is because of the research papers, which is like your research report and your research methodology will require a lot of your time. So maybe think of that, you know. Students who have completed their previous qualifications at a contact university, it is especially important that you think about the adjustments you may need to make sure that you are a successful UNISA student. For example, UNISA does not have daily classes like contact universities. You know, you will have to often study on your own or ensure that you organize your own study groups. And then the support that you can get is obviously from tools like My Life, where you can either connect with your lecturers, your tutors, and other students. So I think plan and be realistic and do it as soon as you possibly can while you're still even thinking of applying. I think, you know, have a conversation with yourself and try and determine if you will be able to not only embark on this journey of your postgrad qualification, but also how you would like to complete it. Do you want to do the entire qualification in a year? Is there research in the qualification? And or do you want to then extend it to 2 or even 3 years, right? You need to ensure that you make a plan and then you stick to your plan. But also at the same time, be realistic about your plan, right? And ask yourself the tough questions. And then this is not to say that if you feel like it'll be a lot of work and then you suddenly say, no, it's too much work and I cannot do it. This is not saying that. No, I think having a conversation with yourself and being completely honest will also prepare you for any challenges you may encounter. Are there any questions, Lisa?
Prudence, Francis asking, I did a BCom with management, but I now want to do industrial psychology. Do I have to complete another undergrad degree?
Okay. In some cases, you might be required to complete a new complete qualification. However, students who are interested in completing an honors degree in a major that they did not particularly major in their third level, is that they will apply for the qualification that they want to pursue, right? And then we will then decline it. But that is not the end of the road. When we decline it, the student will have 10 days to then appeal the outcome of our decision, right? In the appeal, obviously, Francis will need to motivate why they should be given an opportunity to pursue their studies in the direction that they wish to. right? So I always encourage students that in an event of appealing, it's almost like you're begging, it's almost like you're selling yourself even. So you need to make sure that you align the person that you are with the qualification that you wish to pursue. You can often people use the job that they're in. So Francis could maybe emphasize that they are currently in that position, but in order from there, for him to get from point A to point B, this is the qualification that they need. And they will submit supporting documents and, have a motivation. Also put in a CV, especially if it's in line with what they're currently doing. They can put in a CV as well. So that's an option that's available to students. So I just want to add that in an event that you appeal, a student must be prepared, right? So that sometimes when you appeal, the academic department will then say, we see that you don't have the majors in your third level that we need, right? Or that a student should have to pursue this particular qualification. So in that case, often they will give you non-degree purpose modules. They can range from 3 to 10. So they can give you those NDP modules that you complete prior to you being given an opportunity to then pursue that particular honors or postgrad qualification. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Prudence. Those are the only questions for now.
Okay, thank you so much. And we can move. Okay. Okay, so what are other things that you wish your qualification, the postgrad rather, to prepare you for? That is something that students should look into. What opportunities do you want to prepare for? There are a number of reasons why a student will embark on um, furthering their studies. So you need to think about your career goals. You need to think about your career goals and what is required from you in order to reach them, right? And number two is that often is maybe you are looking to change careers or even advance in your current job. For example, people who aspire to be clinical psychologists, you now have the undergraduate degree, the relevant undergraduate degree. What other qualifications will you need? You need to ensure that you choose the right undergrad qualification that will also lead you to the relevant honors degree. In that way, it will lead you to also, your relevant master's degree and so forth. Right? So you need to figure out the kind of opportunities you want your qualification to prepare you for. Hence, I was saying that it is important to plan out your studies even before you think of furthering your studies while you're busy with your degree. Thank you, Lisa. Are there any questions on this one?
Not specifically about what you just shared, Prudence, but Nirmala is asking about the issue of RPL and specifically if you need to pay for it. So maybe in general, I'm not sure if you will be covering the RPL process for admission.
Yeah, so there is an RPL process that is also for students who maybe don't quite meet the admission requirements for a particular honors or postgrad qualification. Then that is the work-related experience. So that comes in. You will apply as normal as everybody else, but then there is an option for you to go through the RPL route. So that is also, I will cover it, I think, on my other slide, where I even have added a link with regards to the RPL process.
Thank you, Prudence. Those are the only questions for now.
All right, thank you so much, Lisa. I think I can move on. I hope I'm not moving too fast. Okay, so preps for the online application process. In the previous slide, I did explain the importance of choosing the right degree. And this is because of the general admission requirements. I will just go through them. So now we require an NQF level qualification. It can be an undergraduate degree, it can be a BTech or an advanced diploma from an accredited institution. You need to ensure that you have the relevant majors. I think a previous student did ask that they wish to complete an honors degree in economics, if I'm not mistaken. So if you want to venture into an honors degree in economics, you will need to have majored in economics in your third level. So the most important one will be your third level. We have dealt with students who have, let's say, for example, have economics in the first year and also have economics in the second year. However, when it came to their third year, they then switched. And then that's where now a bit of a challenge will come in. So you need to sometimes think, if you can beforehand. I do understand that often as we are completing our qualifications, aspirations change. Our goals change. I speak from experience because it did happen to me. So include that, but be aware of the fact that we will require you to have a relevant major. Right? Some students, what they do is that they will have two majors. For example, students who are completing a degree in business management. In their third level, they will have business management major, and they will also have a a financial management major. So now their options will be more. They can choose either to do a business management qualification or a finance qualification, right? And we also are looking for an average of 60%. Now, a lot of students inquire about the 60% and how we calculate it, how is it determined. Some students will calculate it and they'll say that they have the 60%. Just without going into too much detail, the 60%, we do take the relevant majors. We'll calculate them. So let's say, for example, you have 5 economics papers, right? Or rather modules. You have 5 in your third level. So we take all the 5, we add them, and then we divide them by the 5. And that is what is going to give us that 60%. Right? So in some sections, for example, your education and psychology, the percentage may go up because those are very popular honors qualifications. So students should ensure that they do their best. You do not just aim for the 60%, preferably aim higher, and then it is best that you aim a bit higher and then also apply for admission as soon as you possibly can. The issue is that the later you apply, the less your chances might be, because remember, often is that a lot of students do apply for a qualification and then it gets full. So it does also happen with Unisa. Another thing is that you need to ensure that all the documents are uploaded. We, for example, have declined students, not because they don't meet the admission requirements. Maybe they did not send us a certified copy of their ID, or maybe the ID is not clear. Surprisingly enough, we still require your matric certificate when you apply for an honors degree. And then we also require, and this is so important because we encounter students who will attach the copy of their degree or BTech or advanced diploma. However, they will not attach their full and clear academic record. One thing to look for is to ensure that you know where your marks are reflected on the academic the academic record, that there's no step, there's nothing that will maybe hinder us from seeing the mark that you received. So those are some of the things that Unisa students should ensure that they look into. Remember, it's the copy of your ID or passport, your matric certificate or equivalent, a full and clear and official academic record. Please ensure that it is official, and a copy or a letter. Some students don't have copies of their certificate, but they'll have a letter from the institution that states that they have completed. And in an event that you have completed your degree outside of Unisa, please ensure that you have a SAQA certificate. The SAQA certificate, you need to apply for it. It's best that the student or the prospective student, they go through the SAQA website and apply for the certificate ahead of time, because it does, or it can take between, I think a maximum is like 6 months. So I think students should be aware of that. Thank you so much, Lisa. Are there any questions so far?
Prudence, there's just one question from Pule. She says that she registered for an LLM degree and she's completed 2 exams for the degree in 2021. Yes. But then due to outstanding fees, she could not get her results, but she is now busy settling it. Yeah. So once she settled the amount, will she get results for the 2 modules, and will she then be able to register for the remainder of the modules? Or does she need to reapply now for admission to the LLM that she started with?
Okay, let me see if I understand. So the student was previously registered in 2021?
Yes.
Okay, so they completed 2 modules. Due to financial difficulties, they could not proceed with their qualification. Yes. You said the qualification is?
LLM.
An LLM.
Masters, yeah.
Oh, okay. So with LLM, I think it's best, especially for master's students, because they give them a certain period of time to complete their qualification. They need to ensure that they get in contact with the specific person who is dealing with their LLM or LLM qualifications. I don't know if I can write them the specific email, because there is a specific contact person that they need to contact with regards to that. They can continue, but I think it would be best if they have a conversation with a student advisor who specifically deals with LLM, because they will be able to see their marks and when they actually started and what is required from them.
Yeah, thanks, Prudence. So what we could do is, Pule, if you could, for example, send an email to us, and then Prudence could refer you to the relevant colleague that deals with the law master's degree.
Yes, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing, after you have had an idea, maybe you've gone on the Unisa website and you've had an idea of what I require from you, the next step is you need to ask yourself if you have gathered enough information. What research have you done? You need to ask yourself the question, what research have I done to assist me in making the best decision for my career goals? Have I reached out to people? Have I connected with the relevant people? Those are people who are in similar fields that I wish to get into or are, but I want to maybe understand how what I would need in order for me to advance, you know, just so that you gain greater understanding. For example, you want to become maybe a counselor at Unisa, you know, reaching out to one of the counselors and just having a conversation with regards to how can you ensure that you get to gain or to enter the space, rather, you know, what qualifications will you need? So another thing is, have I researched job opportunities? Will this postgrad qualification, you know, open doors? That is something so important, especially in this day and age, for you to research. If I do this qualification, how will it benefit me? You know, you need to do research on that. What are job opportunities that are available for me? You know, how is the job market looking like for me? And then what opportunities will I actually get? What opportunities will I be creating for myself? So those are some of the things that you must look into now. You need to learn more about specific occupations and their requirements. So this is important because of you do not want to, you know, when you aspire to get into a certain field and you have not done the required research that will actually maybe explain to you or offer you greater understanding on what qualifications are required from you. Do you need to do any volunteer work? Things like that. Those are some of the things that you need to look into. You know, also ensure that you identify hidden career paths that you did not think of previously. Networking also does that. You know, talking to people who are in the field that you want to enter in actually can open or broaden your understanding. You know, maybe it's something that you did not think of. For example, we sometimes have students who have done qualification in education, you know, and they are now educators and they want to maybe get into a different space. You need to identify which qualification will I need. Um, Maybe, let's say, for example, for me to become a module coordinator, you know, things like that. So I think that it helps, and it also will help with regards to your employability. You know, what will be needed from you? What honors or postgrad qualification can I do? Because UNISA does offer a number of them, but which one do I specifically need in order for me to go from where I am and to where I wish to be? Are there any questions, Lisa?
There are none for now. Thank you, Prudence.
Okay. Okay, so now you have done your research. You know, you have even identified the honors qualification or postgrad diploma qualification or even your master's qualification that now you would like to embark on. Now comes the work and study balance. Excuse me. How you manage your studies effectively. This is so important because you'll find that as you are starting your new journey in this postgrad or honors qualification, some of you might be working, but you might be employed. Now, how will you balance it? How will you balance the work, your family life, you know, your social life? How will you balance it? So you need to figure out how you will be able to manage your studies effectively. This can be done by how you prepare to study. You know, you make effective planning and incorporate study methods. You also need to incorporate time management, managing study related challenges, and also the exam preparation process. What will you need? how much time will you need to invest in order to ensure that by the time that the exams come in, you are well prepared. You know, we often tell students that you need to think of your life as a whole. Like I mentioned, you could have a job, you could be employed. Have you thought of how you will balance your work and study life? Also including your family life, spending time with your family. Have you thought of that? How will you then balance everything out? Another thing that students should also do when trying to balance everything out is that they need to ensure that they find support. One of the examples is that you may do so by contacting DCCD. They can even show you how to effectively plan for your studies, how to prepare for exams, study methods that are available, tools to manage your time more effectively. Other students opt to organize study groups. So other students, they opt to, maybe it is better for them to, study in a group. So some students opt for that. And also ensuring that you ask for support from your family members, friends, and colleagues. The last part, especially the colleagues part, I feel like often, when your workplace, they have an understanding of career goals that you might have, they can, you give them an opportunity to be able to support you. Maybe instead of doing certain projects alone, you may ask for assistance because the workload might be a lot, and also at the same time you could be preparing for your exams. For family members and friends, you could be a parent, and you might need help with regards to your kids. So I think also incorporating that and asking for support is also very, very fruitful. And anytime where you feel a bit overwhelmed, contacting the DCCD will be of great help. And always ensure that you plan ahead, and please be as realistic as you possibly can. When you know that you're going to have, let's say, a busy week, or maybe like a busy weekend, maybe you're working overtime, or you just have a number of projects that you need to deal with, or maybe you have a family engagement that you need to do. You need to ensure that you have planned for that time that you could have used it for studying. Plan ahead. Steps one should take. Like I said, get organized, plan your studies, and actually start studying. When I was at the DCCD, we used to make timetables that will incorporate your training as well as your studies. So I think that is something that a lot of students should take and then still implement even now. Make a study timetable, ensure that it's weekly. I saw with me that the best thing for me was to make it weekly, because the monthly one, it will sometimes be a bit overwhelming, and obviously other things that I did not anticipate will come in. So a weekly one felt or still feels more manageable to me, right? You check your schedule. How will you then manage to fit in all the various activities you are involved in? That is your studies, your work life if you are employed, your family time, and other activities such as maybe community work, church activities, and any other hobbies you might have. Are there any questions, Lisa?
I'm just checking quickly, Prudence. I just wanted to, while I'm checking the questions, I just wanted to really re-emphasize the importance of doing the planning and registering for the number of modules that you have got time available.
Yes.
Because what I was thinking about is that often, we are tempted
Yeah.
you know, to try and complete the degree in record time, but not
Yeah.
considering that your marks for the honours degree will have an
Yes.
impact in terms of your master's
Master's degree.
application. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that is very, very important. I think that's one of the reasons why we always encourage students, you know, especially when you do an honors degree that has research, that you don't take on more than you can handle. You know, I'll just remind you, you know, you used to tell us, Lisa, how do you eat an elephant? You know, and I still repeat that. I still tell students that you eat it one bite at a time. You know, you don't want to swallow the whole elephant at once. So it's the same concept with your studies. You know, you take on what you feel that you can manage. Other students, they talk to maybe their fellow students, and just to get an idea, some of them, they will talk to lecturers, and others prefer to talk to us with regards to the amount of workload, you know. And another important thing that I feel like students should also take into consideration is the assignments. You know, we talk a lot about exams, and then we often forget about the assignments. Will I be able to, if I register for 2 modules, you know, and then each module has, let's say, 3 assignments. So in total, those would be 6 assignments. Will I be able to manage? You know, so I think that's a very valid point, Melissa. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Prudence. So linked to that, Busisi was asking how many hours do I need to set aside per module for the honours degree?
Unisa does recommend 32 hours. I say more. You need a lot of, you know, it obviously this will be a person-to-person type of case. You know, it depends on your how busy you are, you know, the type of learner you are, you know, how do you grasp information. For example, um, for me to even remember a page that I've read, I know that I have to read it more than 3 times. I have to go through it, you know. So it's really, we cannot say that there's a certain hours that a student needs. We do have recommendation of hours, but I think that when you know yourself more and you understand your study abilities, or rather how you study, maybe think of that, you know, think of that, and yeah, let's say think of that, and then be honest with how how you study. You know, maybe you need more hours than others, or maybe you need less hours. You know, it's usually very different from student to student.
So perhaps, you know, coming back to our earlier comment that it would be important, especially if it's your first year for an honours degree, to be maybe more conservative about the number of modules.
Modules that you take, yes, yes, that is very important. Especially if we also find it with students who are coming from contact universities, because Unisa is a bit different. So it does take them a bit of time to get used to how an ODR works. So that's very important.
Okay, then there was also somebody who asked about what study groups are available for postgrads, as the postgraduate journey can be quite a lonely one. We don't seem to have access to study groups under the research module on my Unisa like undergrads.
Yeah, there is a bit of difficulty when it comes to study groups. One that has helped myself, it was actually Facebook. Facebook did help because there are a number. The reason I'm a bit wary about talking about it is that there are certain pages that are not, how do I put this? That students should be wary of, you know, because you know, some students can't come to campus. They are remotely based, so you can't come to campus and meet other students. You aren't able to come to one of our learning centers and meet other students. So I would say that online, and as well as on the My Unisa portal, if I remember correctly, there are on the chat where students can say, I'm registered for this, I'm looking to start a study group, and some students leave their numbers. I would say start first by having a conversation and taking it from there. I think that would be the best option for you. I don't know if maybe you can add more options, Lisa.
Yeah, what I'm hearing you saying to keep in mind is that perhaps there's kind of a greater responsibility on you as a postgraduate student to create your own community of learning. And as you are negotiating with other students, for example, to meet either online or in person, just take care of, for example, the personal information that you share,
Yes.
and where you decide to meet and who you decide to meet with.
Yes.
But there certainly are a lot of students who have kind of self-organized groups on,
Yes.
like you mentioned, Facebook, and also on Telegram, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And also another one that I forgot to mention, also LinkedIn. You can also connect with other professionals that have this similar interest as you. So I think we should also mention LinkedIn as well.
Yes, so one thing that you really need to remember as a Unisa student, you've got access to a huge group of fellow students. But it maybe it's just a matter of finding the right people and to try and have conversations that are helpful then for all of you to be able to support each other.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you, Bruder.
Okay. So the next slide. I think one of the students that mentioned what options are available if I don't reach the 60% that is required. This is what my slide will be dealing with. What are options? What are my options should my application not be successful? So we always encourage students to explore many options. This should be done even prior to applying for admission. You need to think of other options, right? So thinking of other options will also ensure that you do not lose your motivation to further your studies in the event that your application gets declined. So preparing for it and also considering what other options are there for you. Should your application be declined, what can you do? We don't want you to get declined and then you give up on your dreams, and so I think exploring other options is really helpful. Like I mentioned previously, students who have been declined may appeal the university's decision. Your appeal should be submitted within 10 days. We have had instances where we decline students' appeals, not because their reason is not substantial enough, but often because the student waited too long, right? So now it didn't give the academic department enough time, or by the time that they eventually submitted their appeal, they had taken other students. So it is very important that the minute you receive the outcome of your application, this could be that the application period opened on the day you receive it. You need to ensure that you submit an appeal, right? Some students, they do ask maybe, or rather inquire, what other postgrad qualifications can they look into since they don't meet the admission requirements for the one that they had applied for. This is where maybe we can look at your academic record and then try and advise you accordingly. right? We cannot make a decision for you. However, we can try and maybe have a conversation with you that could lead you in the direction that is more appropriate for your undergrad qualifications. So the link to the appeal, right? It will be attached to your application outcome. So every time when we send you a letter that says that you are unsuccessful, in the letter there will be a link that has more information with regards to the appeal. But I want you to remember that when it comes to the appeal, ensure that all the required documents have been submitted. Ensure that you submit them, you submit everything, meaning there's a form that you fill in. If you do not apply it online, you choose maybe to fill in a form, there's a form, and also you ensure that you attach all the documents that you will need. So the documents will be your CV, which is very important, any experience that you might have that is related to the honors qualification that you wish to pursue, any community work that you have done, any training you might have received, whether formal or informal. Also remember to still include your academic record and your proof of completion, because the academic department does look into that, right? We have had instances where, and I think I should mention this, where students are declined, but we decline them because of maybe documents that are missing. Please, students, remember, do not appeal that. Do not appeal it. Rather, send us an email with all of the attached documents. Rather, you do that. So in that instance, if we decline you due to the application fee not being paid or certain documents missing, please do not appeal. You only appeal if we declined you based on the admission requirements. Okay? We also encourage students to apply for 2 qualifications per application period to increase their chances. So how will you determine which qualifications you can apply for? Again, you will look at your 3rd level modules that you have completed. Let's say, for example, you've completed 5 criminology modules and 5 social work modules. Because you've completed those are regarded as your majors, right? You've completed 5. If you're a student from another institution apart from Unisa, often that they have majored in criminology, but instead of the 5, they've done 3. That's still a major, right? So you will then, when applying for a postgrad qualification, because you've done criminology, right, you will then apply for an honors or postgrad qualification in criminology, right? And if your other major is social work or psychology, then you will apply for that qualification. This is in case you are not taken in one qualification, that we can consider you for another qualification. And another thing that students should also bear in mind, please ensure that when you are declined, in an unfortunate event that you are declined, please send us an email. Reach out on what other options are available to you, right? You may make use of the appeal, and also at the same time, I would say send us an email, right? The student did ask about the RPL. So students may also apply via RPL. This is recognition of prior learning. Now, the prior learning could be formal and informal. You could have done some community work that you feel like it is related to the particular honors qualification that you want to pursue. You know, you could be in the work environment. Let's say you have worked as a project manager. Now you want to do a qualification in project management. You know, that still counts. They will require some form of proof to show that you have acquired the necessary learning that is related to a particular honors degree. So it also has its own process. I would encourage students who are interested in the RPL route to go to the Unisa website and check out the process in more detail. The RPL route also has a specific RPL personnel that a student can reach out to for maybe further assistance that they feel that they might need. Right. I've included a link that is to explore other study options. I feel like it's very important for students to go through it as it will broaden your understanding. Thank you so much, Lisa. Are there any questions?
Prudence, I'm not sure if you know, but Normala's asking if there is a cost associated with the RPL process.
I'm not certain if there is a cost for payment. That one I'm not sure, but if there is, it will be on the Unisa website. But I don't believe that there is.
Okay, but I will post the link,
yeah.
the link that you're also sharing for the RPL. So perhaps the
Yes.
best would be for Normala then to contact the
that'll
RPL
be the best.
section.
Yeah, because I have included links in my other slide.
Okay.
And yeah. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Sorry, Prudence. Normala is also asking, do you know if RPL can apply to short learning programs?
RPL is usually students use it for formal qualifications. So short learning programs are not necessarily formal qualifications. Does she mean that if they have completed short learning programs or if they want to pursue a short learning program?
The question is just, can we apply for RPL for short learning programs?
Okay, let's say I'm understanding that can they use the RPL route to get into short learning programs? Then yes. Because remember, with short learning programs, usually it's for you to gain an informal, how do I put this? Expertise, maybe better. So usually RPLs are not really used for short learning programs, but I think the link will touch on that.
Thank you. I think in that case, it might also be best to talk to one of the RPL colleagues.
Yes.
To hear what in principle, if it is possible or not.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
So another aspect that is quite important to our students is job search, making use of resources that are available. And what are those resources, available resources to you? You know, you've acquired the qualification or you are currently acquiring the qualification. Now you are reaching the next step in your career, and that is getting employment and ensuring that you are employable. You know? Making effective career decisions includes having enough relevant and reliable information available, combined with your ability to integrate the information with what you know about yourself, your career vision, and your goals. Your career research will connect you to others who will help you, right? And they will help you with the following. Maybe answer the questions you may have about your career choice. You know, like we mentioned previously, what qualifications are required for you to get access to that space? What other experiences will you need? You know, do you need to do some community work? So you will be able to answer those type of questions. Maybe learn more about specific occupation and their requirements. how to link your studies to the specific career that you wish to get into. Connecting with others will also expand your understanding of the opportunities related to your career vision. I think I've touched on this before. Networking or having or connecting with others will also help you identify hidden career paths that you did not think of previously. And also think about how you could plan to pursue those specific opportunities. So doing research for the space that you want to get into, it's very important, right? There are a wide range of sources that you can use to find career information. Um, I know that DCCD lists them as well. I think I took this list from there. So it's online search, going to Google, career information sites as well, job search websites. Those will be your PNET, all those job finding websites. LinkedIn is also very, very crucial for you to be given an opportunity to connect with the people who are in the same field as you. Networking, talking to other people. That's another uh, way of searching for jobs or doing some form of research. So you need to ensure that you give yourself an opportunity to have conversation with people who are in the space that you want to be in. Attending any career fairs and career events. Unisa does have one, and I think it's very important for students to also attend them. You get an opportunity to have a conversation with people who are in organizations that you might wish to be affiliated with. So I think that's also important. Another thing that students should not overlook is volunteering. Volunteering also gives you exposure. You get to do research while you're in it. So it gives you exposure to the space that you want to get into. So I think also making time for that. I know that we're busy, especially a lot of a student is so busy when you're juggling other things. But I think also making time to get exposure by means of volunteering could be very beneficial in your career. Are there any questions, Lisa?
Not for now, Prudence.
Okay. Right. So I think this one, the reason this is important, and I think that students should also ensure that the information that they gather is credible information. They need to ensure, you need to investigate even the information that you are gathering. Sometimes you could be having a conversation with someone, and maybe that is maybe that person can link you to somebody who will be able to give you the right information that you need. So that's why networking is so important. Making sure that the sites you get into or the sites that you choose to do your research on are credible. You can check. The DCCD does also have a link. I think I've added it. I'm not sure. I just want to click. Okay, yes. So the link that gives you other ideas on how you can job search, how to do it safely, how to do it effectively, and how you can make it work for you. Okay. So that's very important. I've also included some useful links that I feel that students should take time to just go through them. Right. The first one is the DCCD one. That is for your support that you might need, any useful tips that you might need in terms of how to embark on this journey, gaining support, and how to navigate this new journey that you're embarking on. Excuse me. The second link I feel is quite important is the application and admission link. So this link will briefly give you an idea of what is required when choosing a particular honors postgrad qualification. This will also maybe give you an idea of what are the requirements. For example, you want to pursue another certain qualification, what is required from your side. And also, students should also bear in mind that qualifications are a bit different. There are certain qualifications that have a selection process. So you need to make sure that you have as enough information as you possibly could have to make sure that you are well equipped and ready for anything that might be required from you. I've also included a link that might help you, or may help you in terms of choosing the right qualification for you. I've also included a link for the application and the documents that are required. Unfortunately now, applications are closed for postgrad qualifications. Those are your honors and your postgrad diplomas. So application is only open for a number of undergrad qualifications. But as soon as the application process is open for postgrad qualifications, then you can just have a look at it. Another link that is quite important is frequently asked questions. Students should really take time to have a look at them. Even if now you are currently busy with your postgrad qualification, please take time to go through the link. It will be so fruitful because sometimes there are certain questions that you might have that maybe you have attempted to find answers to. So this is to ensure that you get the direct answer and the relevant one that is also relevant for the current academic year. Because remember, rules, student policies, and rules, they change. They can change at any time. So going through the link of frequently asked questions is very fruitful. Like I mentioned, the student policies and rules, those are also important. It also details how many modules you may take a year, how many modules you will need to pass, how many credits you will need to earn a year. So I feel like, per academic year, so I feel like that is also important to just familiarize yourself with the student policies and rules. Another important link is funding for your studies. What other funding or bursary information that can speak to you or that can offer assistance? That link is very, very important. And the RPL link that I've included. I also want to mention that when it comes to bursaries, students should be aware that some companies offer bursaries. Very important that as you do your job search, that you also do some research with regards to what kind of bursaries or funding do they particularly offer. You find that you can, even when you are not within the organization, when you are outside, you may be given an opportunity to be funded. But just familiarize yourself with that because I think it will be very fruitful. This is the RPL link as well that you can go through and then just familiarize yourself, go through the process, and also there will be contact personnel, so you can just pop them an email so that they can explain to you certain things in more detail. Thank you so much, Lisa. Are there any questions or?
Prudence, I just wanted to mention that posted the links that you've got on the screen in the Q&A. So those who would want to just take note of the links, it's there in the Q&A.
All right, thank you so
Then
much.
there was a question that came through also from Nirmala. I'm not sure if you would be aware, but is Unisa looking at gaining HPCSA accreditation for the honours psychology degree, or are there any talks about new alternative programs that would allow for registration with the HPCSA?
Oh yes, there is a qualification that has been introduced with our department, with further studies, the psychometry qualification that is registered with the HPCSA. The information will be communicated and it will be on the Unisa website just once everything is finalized. For now, we know that there is, but then because it's not yet advertised to students, we can't really go into detail with it. But there is a qualification that is being introduced that speaks specifically for psychology students, industrial psychology students, as well as people who want to be registered with HPCSA. So it will be advertised, I think, during the next application period. Yes, that is for 2024 academic year.
And that information is normally available around about August or July, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it will be around that time. So around about July, August, yeah, let's say then.
And then a final question that I see for now is, just your thoughts on, you talked about preparing for the job market, and as you're choosing which qualification you want to apply for, to also consider your career goals. So Nirmala is asking, how do students prepare for the changing economy and lack of demand for the skills that they have just completed?
Yeah.
So I'm going to paraphrase it, is that you almost kind of like, what can you do to prepare for an environment that could be, fast changing, and how do you prepare for unforeseen circumstances, perhaps, because maybe you started your journey many years ago. You thought that it would have this outcome, but now things have changed. So how can you prepare for that kind of uncertainty?
In 2023, I think that's one of the things that we really need to prepare for, because the job market changes so much. As at times you find that a qualification that was, you would be headhunted, for lack of a better word. Once you've completed it, you find that today it is not something that would gain you maybe, or to make you employable. I think students should also think outside the box. You need to think outside the box. Yes, you're doing a qualification in, let's say, for example, economics. Okay, no, economics will never. Yeah, but let's say you're doing a qualification in social work. How can you make it work for you in today's changing world? What other skills can you acquire that will help you in today's technology advanced world? What can you do from your side? I think it's very useful for students to just go through that, and then also do as much research as you possibly can. There are sites that can help you in terms of how you can incorporate your qualification in one way or the other. And also I feel like students should be or give themselves room to change, because as you get older, or as you progress with your studies, even your goals might change. Not only the surrounding or your needs or the job market needs and things like that, but even you change. So I think you must also have room for that change to take place. I think planning and doing as much research as you possibly can. That will be very fruitful. Being in a space with the people who are in that particular field that you want to get into, I think that's also very fruitful. And also, networking. So I think that's the best way that you can prepare yourself for this changing world. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Prudence. And Marla just added for us that part of this journey of being prepared for opportunities could also include really building your soft skills, your relevant soft skills, and of course digital skills.
Yes, those are very important.
Certainly, yeah. But
Can-
just to add on to what you've mentioned, sorry, Mandu.
Lisa.
Just a note on what Prudence has mentioned is that it's very important. What I hear, Prudence, is that you need to be very proactive in this journey of planning your career, planning your studies, connecting with others, connecting with your industry or your route that you're interested in, so that you can also be aware of how things are changing, and you need to start making plans about how you can prepare for those changes.
Yes.
Mandu?
Lisa, you have said a mouthful. Just wanted to cover that. But also to add, to invite Nimala for next week's presentation on the 26th, where we have a Unisa alumni, a graduate from Unisa, who studied BCom accounting and was aspiring to become an accountant. But for a number of reasons, she ended up running her own business, which is very, very successful. So what Prudence is saying about being open-minded and doing your homework in networking, researching, it's very key in this present day in job search. So it will be very important. I'll also invite Nimala to, and other students who have the same question, to visit our previous presentations, especially on informational interviews as a method of networking. There's lots of valuable information that they can gain for that particular. And thank you, Lisa.
Okay, I think that brings us to the end of my presentation. So I just want to say the best way to predict your future is to create it, and that was by Abraham Lincoln. And I believe that if you plan for your future, if you plan it, you have the ability to create your ideal future. So I think that's also important. I've also, Lisa, I had even forgotten about this. The contact information, I think you can please add this to the chat.
Will do so.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is the reason I included it, is that this is so important that you send a specific baby query that you might have to the specific section. This is very important. So if you have an accounting related question, please ensure that you send an email to the relevant section. This will also ensure that you get assisted more efficiently. If you have a student number and you are currently a Unisa student, please ensure that you include it whenever you are emailing any of our sections. This is so important because it also enables us to see your education history, and then we will be able to assist you more effectively. So I've also included tips. The best way to reach us is via email. Unfortunately, we don't have any telephone numbers, so should you call, just be aware that you will go through to the call center. So you go through the call center. Hence, I'm saying that the best way to reach us is to send us an email. Please, like I mentioned, ensure that you direct your email to the relevant section. Be clear in your email, and always include your student number should you have it. If you have not been allocated a student number or you have forgotten your student number, you may include your ID number. That way we'll be able to search it and then link you to your educational history. So that will be very important. And best of luck to everyone with their studies. And I just also want to take this opportunity to thank the DCCD for Mama Kanya and Lisa, and with Becky as well, for including me and giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prudence. A lot of valuable information, and also, you know, we often think about applying for honours and postgraduate diplomas. It's like this very, you know, administrative thing, but there's a lot of things that we need to think about as we are considering whether to apply, what qualifications to apply, what are the processes that we need to follow, what are the things that we need to start doing now so that we are better prepared for that journey. Because I'm sure you can agree with me that functioning on an honours and postgraduate level is quite a step up from what you are used to at undergraduate level. So it is a period of adjustment, and thank you for sharing those tips on the things that we need to think about as we are preparing.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for the opportunity, and best of luck to all the students. And you know, they can pop us an email whenever they feel like they need support. I think I should also mention that we are based in Sunnyside, but there are other regions that students can contact.
Yes, that I was also curious that in addition to the email addresses, what you're saying now is that students can also inquire about honours and postgraduate studies at the regional centres as well.
Yes, yes, okay. Yes, they can. They can. But with us, we are based in Sunnyside. So that's another alternative option that students can do, because we do see students. Students can walk in and have a conversation with us.
Okay, so it's walk in, and it's during the normal Unisa office hours.
Yes. Well, they need to ensure that they come to us before 3, because you know that is the best time. Before 3, just I feel like I should add that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Okay. So I don't see any other further questions. Let me just make a last check. Okay, as I'm just ending off the session, you're welcome to post any questions. We'll quickly check in before we end the session. From my side, I just wanted to share some information with you. Our directorate, like the event that you are attending this morning, I've got another event on the 25th of April, and that is about interview skills, and then events, the further events will also be announced on the Unisa events calendar. So please also just regularly go and check the Unisa events calendar so that you can get the links to the further events that we are organizing. Then very exciting for us as well as to share with you the information about the Virtual Grad Expo. So the Virtual Grad Expo is an online event that you're able to attend. You need to register for it. There is a link here on the screen, as well as a code that you can scan to be able to go to the registration page. And what happens at the Virtual Grad Expo is that it's available between May and August. But on 3 days, the first day is on the 17th of May, then the 27th of July and the 17th of August. There will be online webinars as well as chats that you can participate in. There will be employers available to engage with you about questions that you might have. They will be talking about bursaries, scholarships, work experience, graduate opportunities. So even if you are not a final year student or you are just exploring at this stage, you can still get a lot of valuable information. For example, understanding more about the different opportunities available at these organizations. So please make a note for the 17th of May. But what you can do now is start to register for the event. Then we have a Grad Next book, which is published by Van Schaik. It's a very valuable book in terms of the information contained therein. You can download it for free on the link that I've given you there on the screen. I'll also post it in the Q&A. And in this book, we share information about how to look for a job, starting your own business, writing CVs and cover letters, networking, preparing for interviews, personal branding, managing money. So a lot of valuable topics as you are considering your next steps in terms of your career. Then from our side, we would really love to hear from you. So if you have any feedback or suggestions in terms of these online presentations, you're welcome to send an email to Mrs. Mandu Makanya. Her email address is up there on the screen. And then in terms of counselling and career development, you are welcome to send an email to counselling@unisa.ac.za. If you have any questions about managing your career, your studies, as well as personal development, then you can also book an online appointment with a counsellor by using the link there. We also have counsellors available at the different Unisa regional offices, so you are welcome to contact them to make an appointment. Our website, Prudence mentioned that there's a lot of informational resources there that you can also use in terms of your career, academic and personal development. And then finally, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Unisa Careers, where we will be posting a recording of today's session. But while you are there, also go and explore the previous sessions that we recorded from last year as well as this year, and any upcoming sessions. So that's it from me, from my side. I am inviting my colleague, Mr. Beki Mzobe, just to end off the session for us. Thank you, Beki.
Thank you so much, Lisa, and good day, everyone. We have now come to the end of today's session. On that note, I take this opportunity on behalf of my colleagues and the entire Directorate for Counseling and Career Development at Unisa to express our profound gratitude to our guest speaker, Ms. Prudence Mahlangu, for such an excellent and interesting presentation. Thank you, Prudi, for sharing your valuable information with our students and outlining the process of planning for future studies and job search, and further clarifying what students need to consider as they may be preparing to apply for postgraduate studies and jobs. I have no doubt that students benefited from this information you shared. As the CD, we appreciate your continued support, your contribution, and for sharing your time with us. Thank you so much, Prudi. I also want to say thank you. I also want to say a big thank you to Lisa for facilitating this event excellently well. Thank you so much, Lisa. Finally, I would like to thank students for attending and making this event a success. Thank you so much. Thank you to each and every one of you who participated in today's session. Thank you. Back to you, Lisa.
Thank you very much, Becky. Again, from my side, thank you for attending and for taking time to attend this morning. And I've posted links for the registration for the Virtual Grad Expo, as well as our contact information. Thank you very much, colleagues, and we hope all of you have a great day further.